Hello everyone, welcome back to the Spec Guide. I'm Max. Today we are at Foundation Hyundai of Boulder, a nearby dealership with us. We love working with local businesses. It's not an ad for them. We specifically want to talk about the IONIQ 5 at the moment because we review and test and talk about all kinds of EVs, and at the moment the kind of broken record thing that my colleagues and I have been saying is Tesla Model Y kills everything. Like Nissan Ariya looks like an ID4, IONIQ 5, whatever it is, like no matter how compelling the other products are, Tesla has just been going so aggressively this year with price cuts, introducing a new kind of cheaper LFP variant that's rear-wheel drive, the Tesla Model Y. If you've been following the EV market, it's kind of hard to argue against, but not everyone wants to buy a Tesla, and tables are starting to turn. Hyundai has kind of basically started pushing some levers and made IONIQ 5s a lot more appealing. So my colleague behind the camera, Ryan, is filming me and me presenting. Both of us have experience in the IONIQ 5 and related vehicles like the Kia EV6. So we're going to tell you some of the pros and cons right now of considering the market, the IONIQ 5, because I think this is like the strongest competition at the moment, the Tesla Model Y. So let's get into what's good about it at the moment and where you still want to watch out, where the Tesla experience might be better. All right, Ryan, so you currently own a Tesla.
That's right. I have a rear-wheel drive Model 3, and it's a really great car. I've been really happy with the purchase. I've put about 10,000 miles on it, and I'm really pleased with it. I do want to clarify, I don't think that I'm a Tesla fanboy. I think that it's a very good car, but I also recognize there's a lot of other cars on the market, and there's a lot of competition.
Yeah, and so the IONIQ 5 has been some of the strongest competition specifically for the bigger sibling to your vehicle, the Tesla Model Y. And I think both of us agree, Ryan. I think it's a really good looking car. It offers really compelling fast charging. There's a lot to like about it. But you are a Tesla owner, and I know you like you said, you're not a fanboy, but there's parts of the experience you like. So before we get into what's so great about the IONIQ 5 and everything, let's talk about like what drew you to Tesla specifically when you bought it and what you've loved as a Tesla owner.
First and biggest thing for me is actually the purchasing experience. There's no haggling, there's no trying to figure out what's the best way to do this. It's just very straightforward. It's all online, really easy to do, and the price is the price, and that's that. It was really easy to get a good deal, and I was able to take advantage of a lot of incentives, both federal and state.
Yeah, it seems like Tesla it has transparency, right? They change the prices all the time, but it's the same for everyone who's looking at it online, plainly visible to see. Dealer by dealer, your experiences may vary. I want to give a shout out, like these guys have been great to work with. They seem like a really nice dealer. They're in touch with electric cars. Not every dealer is that same way, and like you mentioned, the haggling experience is not something everyone loves with the traditional car buying purchase. So buying experience right off the bat, I think is a great point to bring up, an area where I think Tesla in most situations is going to win or just be more consistent in as compared to Hyundai.
Certainly, and a few other things that drew me toward the car are, of course, the powertrain. So just basic range, charging, acceleration, and how it feels to drive. And it's all really good. It's extremely competitive, near the top of the class. And I want to clarify that, yes, there's a lot of competition, and a lot of stuff I think is actually pretty close, or sometimes even exceeding some things as far as range or charging or powertrain smoothness. However, as a whole package, I do think that the Model 3 and Model Y are really quite exceptional.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Really compelling and super efficient. But let's flip the camera around and I'll tell you about why I think the IONIQ 5 is such a good offer, especially now. Let's give some numbers for context. This is specifically if we're comparing like a dual motor long range spec, as you would call it in Tesla land, or in Hyundai land, let's say the SEL trim with the 77 kilowatt hour battery as they all come with, and all-wheel drive. That's where the Hyundai is quite compelling. In terms of like the MSRP, what you're paying right now with the current offers with cash off, it's the same as a Tesla, and that's sweet. However, there is no tax credit. So if the tax credit is something you're considering, okay, value proposition moves in favor of the Tesla. That said, I think the Hyundai is like a nicer vehicle in terms of the build quality and the interior. I like a lot of that. The software and the technology is not quite as refined as Tesla. The charging experience is more variable. Theoretically, this is a great charging vehicle, and yet public chargers all around are just iffy. I mean, even this dealer's own charge point units that they've installed at the moment are offline. So I don't know if that tells you the state of public charging in the US. That said, Hyundai has signed a deal with Tesla. They will have access to Tesla superchargers next year with an adapter. They won't be able to charge at the full speed this car is capable of off the bat, but they're going to work that out. Charging will improve generally, but right now it is more of a sore spot for Hyundai. If you're leasing, that's where I think this gets really compelling. Model Y lease deals are pretty sweet, but when you consider like the dual motor, the long range, the trim a lot of people want, I think it's around $620 a month right now. As of us filming this video, that always changes. But for the Hyundai right now, and this is both situations where you lease with $0 down, 36-month term. The Hyundai is around $520 to $530 a month. So it's undercutting the Tesla in terms of that monthly lease pricing. That's because when you lease, they can pass on the tax credit, so both Tesla and Hyundai are doing it. It kind of levels the playing field more there. And for leasing this for cheaper than a Y, I think that's a pretty sweet situation. You get, like I said, a vehicle that I think is built a little bit better, has a more of an interesting design. Say what you will about the Tesla Model Y, they're so common now. Everyone is driving Model 3s and Model Ys, and you have something like this, it looks distinctive.
Max, I think you made a lot of really great points, and I agree with you. I think the long-range IONIQ 5 is extremely competitive compared to the Model Y long-range, and I think there's a lot of reasons to pick the IONIQ 5 over the Model Y in that case. However, I don't think that's always the case, especially when you start going down the range toward the standard range models. So the Model Y has a rear-wheel drive, and that starts at $43,000, and it's a very good vehicle. It's got an LFP battery, so you can fully charge it, and it's got a ton of standard features. However, when you're looking at the bottom of the range for the IONIQ 5, you're stuck with the SE short range, and that doesn't have a ton of features. There's a lot of stuff missing, not nearly as good tech, and I don't think it's got nearly as good range or charging. So if you're looking at the lower end, I do think Tesla still has an advantage there. However, long range, I really do like the Hyundai.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Tesla, everything's more or less similar, right? There's just fewer options packages overall. You choose your powertrain. Hyundai still has the SE, SEL limited distinction. You get less feature content on that base trim because they have to distinguish it, whereas Tesla is going to give you the heated seats, the same screen and interior and all of those things standard. Hyundai is going to make you pay a little bit more for things like a sunroof, whereas in a Model Y or a Model 3, you're always going to get a glass roof. The IONIQ 5, if you can get it for a comparable or cheaper price than a Model Y, is a compelling vehicle to go for. Now the IONIQ 6, because of its base powertrain compared to Tesla Model 3, okay, the Model 3 is like a lot quicker, it's more vehicle. And yet, in this space, where I think most of you watching this are shopping, the ultra competitive small crossover space, the IONIQ 5 is still super relevant. And I'm happy to see that Hyundai, like nationally, and their dealers, right, are kind of taking the fight to Tesla and actually being competitive in these EV price wars. It's really good news for buyers. We need more of these. So we're going to cover the EV market to come. We're neutral, we're unbiased here. Again, we're filming like we love, Hyundai Boulder, cool of them to let us film here. We're gonna work with whatever dealers, whatever resources we can to deliver all of the best kind of EV deals and context about that to you as the consumer. So let us know the specific kind of buying comparisons and content you wanna see in that regard. Thanks so much for my colleague Ryan for filming me today. Thank you for watching At a Spec Guide. I've been Max, and we'll see you in the next one.